Let's go ahead and make a few drawing views. Okay, of course, creating 2D drawings from the 3D model is a much easier way of going than using a traditional 2D CAD system. We'll use our marking menu, where we can just gesture in the direction of the various tools. We can select any part we want. Of course, it will know if we have a part already open that we want to detail. Get a nice preview of the part in the open window so we're sure what we've got. We can modify the scale that we want to any factor. And let's just rough this one in. Once we've placed the base view, we can show where a bottom view might go, where a right side view might go, and where an isometric view might go, just by dropping them in place. Once we say create, you'll see how quickly it generates the drawing view. Really fast, just amazing, especially if you've used a 2D system. Let's place a section view by gesturing to the east on our marking menu, establishing where our section line is, and we'll just simply drop the view off to the right. Okay, looks great. Hatching's already in place. Really nice. Now let's go ahead and drop an auxiliary view just by simply making, again, a gesture, in this case to the southwest. Locate where the view should go. And then let's put in one of our favorites, the detail view. These can be pesky. In this case, let's go ahead and set up a square boundary, maybe change the scale, and select what portion of our section view that we want to detail. So we'll simply select the portion. It generates our view. Let's just drop it there temporarily. That's one of the nice things, is just because you've placed a view in a certain position doesn't mean it has to stay there. For example, we just simply take a view like the detail view and drag it down next to the title block. We can also make other types of modifications to our views. For example, the auxiliary view, we can rotate. We can tell to maybe take an edge and make it vertical. So let's grab our edge. It rotates the view around. It looks pretty cool. So let's go ahead and make another modification. Maybe we take this and tell it to align it to our base view with a vertical alignment. That looks excellent too. We can also modify the way a view looks. For example, here we have our isometric view. I'll just simply tell it that it should be shaded, maybe even change its scale, and update that. That looks all right. Now, let's go ahead and rearrange our views. You'll notice how the orthographic projection stays intact. Everything looks good. Okay, let's do a couple quick adjustments. For example, let's tell this auxiliary view that it's not generating its hidden lines like it used to, so it's just showing a solid edge. Let's get into some of the annotation options. For example, let's place a center line, or let's place some center marks. Once we have our center marks placed, we can simply grab them and maybe pull them together to show the alignment between the different holes. Looks good. Gives us some nice guidance when we're doing that. Up here, let's go ahead and use the center line tool. First, we'll pick two holes, and you see a nice center line. However, if we keep picking, you'll notice something special happens. We start to get a bolt circle, which is great. Very easy to generate, very easy to set up. Nothing to it, really. Now let's go ahead and use a bisecting center line and just simply grab a couple of edges, or in this case, a couple curves. And we'll still drop in our center lines. Just like that. Much easier than we used to have to do it on the drafting board. We can grab those lines and just simply drag them out. Alright, that's starting to look good. Now, as we take a look at things, maybe our detail view doesn't quite need to be that large. So by sneaking down the boundary, we can reduce the size of the view. We can, of course, adjust the location of any of our callouts to make sure that they're up to our specifications and needs, even tweak and modify the location of the detail callout itself. All right, let's turn our attention maybe to a little bit of dimensioning. So just by using one dimension tool, we can pick and choose any of the geometry that we have. In this case, we'll grab those two lines and just simply draw a linear dimension. Without changing tools, we can immediately go to a radial dimension. Here we can go ahead and select two edges that are at an angle to one another. We are still using the same tool, and it will even drop out a linear diameter, all with one dimensioning tool. Much easier than the 2D system you've probably been using. Let's go ahead and create a baseline dimension. All we have to do is select a series of geometry. In this case, the first thing you select should be your primary datum. So it will place your dimensions based on that very quickly. And even though we probably shouldn't do this in a machine design, we can go ahead and place chain dimensions as well. Same rules, just select it. Of course, in this case, it really doesn't care what your base is because it's just showing the distance between the entities. Very quick, very simple. Maybe we want to take one of these dimensions and display it differently by using a different dimension style. All we have to do is select which dimension style we want, and the dimension updates. Alright, let's go ahead and just do another quick annotation here by grabbing a hole and thread note. We can grab any geometry, but you'll see it only highlights our hole features. It immediately picks up the thread information, and we can even modify that. For example, let's update the note by showing different things, such as the type of bolt. In this case, we'll just drop in the quantity, and it automatically tells me how many bolts are involved. Now, with Parametric Designs, the 3D model is based on a series of dimensions that can modify the sketch. In some cases, you may want to bring one of those dimensions into the drawing. Doing so makes something very interesting available. This 90 millimeter dimension, if I were to modify it in the context of my drawing, will make a change to the part itself. So by simply updating the drawing, the part changes, and of course, the way Inventor works, every drawing view will update as well.